and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be doing a basic dip application using some of my favorite products from Double Dip and Ritzy Dips. Double Dip is my favorite liquids. I've been using them for several months now and I've never had any issues. Ritzy Dips is also some of my favorite colors. They're very pigmented and easy to use. If you're interested in trying out Double Dip, I have a 20% off code. It is Elkins20 that you can use at checkout. If you would like to try out Ritzy Dips, you can use Elkins10 at checkout for savings. So here I am applying my base layer nice and thin and wiping the brush off before I insert it back into the bottle. Applying your liquids nice and thin is key to keeping your nails from getting bulky. I like to do one nail at a time, one dip at a time. That way I don't mess it up when I go to brush off the excess powder. I'll be going through and doing each nail, not all the way to the cuticle. I do about 3/4 of the nail, kind of building a slight apex. Each dip, I make that area a little bit larger until my last dip is all the way to the cuticle line. So here you will see me do all of the nails about a 3/4 dip. I have to apologize for my hair flying into the video at some points. I use a small fan to blow the fumes away from my face to avoid any dip flu symptoms. Using my small fan to blow the fumes away creates good ventilation, and it's small enough that it doesn't blow any of the powders. So there you saw I just brushed off the excess powder on my first 3 fingers. I do that because I don't want to mess up the dip on the other 2 nails that I just recently did. This gives them a little bit more time to dry. Now I'm going in and making my dip a little bit larger than the last dip I just did, but still not going all the way to the cuticle. If you do have the liquids touching the skin at all, you can just use a sharp-edged tool like I just used from my cuticle pusher to clean up the cuticle lines. You can also use a toothpick or a dotting tool is what a lot of people use to clean the cuticle line. Always make sure to wipe your brushes off before inserting it back into the bottle. This will reduce contamination of your brush getting hard. I like to slowly roll my finger from side to side to make sure I'm covering the whole nail completely. Just using that tool to clean up the cuticle lines works perfectly. This will prevent any lifting from the dip touching the skin. Now I'm going in and brushing off the other 2 nails that I didn't brush off previously. You'll also see in this video that I use a stiff brush to brush off the excess powder as well. That is a great tool to removing the excess powder, but always make sure your dip is set before you do so or you'll mess up that layer of dip. You should clean the cuticle line every dip to ensure that you don't have any of the dip touching your skin. Here I will be applying clear dip powder over all of the nails in the same technique that you used for the color. I do one full dip and clean the cuticle lines with my sharp tool around all of the edges. Once I get the clear dip powder completely on, I will go through and gently press it down with my finger, just to make sure I don't have any bubbles in the clear dip powder. Then you want to use a stiff brush to brush off your excess clear dip powder. This will also reduce the bubbles and any cloudiness in your clear dip powder. The next step in the process is to activate the nails. You want to put a nice generous amount of the activator over all of the nails, not worrying if it touches the skin. This is the process you have to wait and allow for it to set for 2 minutes. Next, we will buff, shape, and file. My favorite files are from Bonafide Beauty, the glass files, and then I also use an emery board for the straight across shape of my nails. I will use the Bonafide glass file for shaping the edges of my nail. Around the cuticle line, I will use the sharp pointy tool to clean out all the debris from around the cuticle line. I like to use the small orange buffer blocks for buffing and smoothing out the nail. I feel like it gets a nice smooth finish with those. With Ritzy Dips and Double Dip liquids, I feel like I don't have a lot of buffing to do. I've never used an e-file and do it all by hand and feel like it only takes about 2 minutes. Once this process is complete, I will also take an ergo file from Bonafide Beauty and go around my cuticle edges. That will be shown here next. Sometimes I'll use my clear dip powder jar to hold my pinky still, because sometimes my non-dominant hand will cramp, and I feel like that helps hold the nail nice and still, allowing me to buff and shape it. Here you can see me using the pointy end of my Bonafide glass file. I like to use that to get all of the debris out from around the cuticle line. The nice thing about the glass files from Bonafide Beauty is they're very gentle on the skin and will never tear your skin. I like to use this tool, it's called the ergo file, around my cuticle lines. This gets the cuticle line nice and smooth and creates that nice round edge. Sometimes in doing so, I will create a little ledge where I have to go in and re-smooth that with the buffer block. Once you're finished filing and shaping, you want to go in and rinse your hands with water only and a scrubby brush. Now you reactivate and wait an additional 2 minutes. Once that process is done, I get a clean paper towel and I wipe my nails with an alcohol prep pad. This will reduce the chance of contaminating your top coat and the brush hardening. I wipe all around the nails, the skin, anything the activator touched. I wipe that really good and allow to dry for a few moments. Then I go in with my top coat. Your first coat should be quick strokes, wiping the brush on the paper towel after every time it touches the nail, before inserting it back into the bottle. This is where your brush can get contaminated. These quick strokes reduces the time that the brush is touching the nail. Once you have your first coat done, just wait a few moments for it to dry. It will look crinkly. That's when you know it's safe to go in for your second coat. Your second coat can be more detailed and take your time and make sure you're covering the whole area. I also cap the tip in my top coat. This reduces the chance of the nail lifting prematurely. Always make sure to wipe the brush before inserting it back into the bottle. Once you are done with this process, your nails are done. It only takes about 2 to 3 minutes for the nail to dry. Once my top coat is dry, I then apply cuticle oil. My favorite oils are from Candi Skincare. She has so many fun scents, and you can use code Elkins15 when you shop with Candi Skincare. And now we're finished. I hope you enjoyed this basic dip tutorial. Till next time.